Hi friends, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to share an update on how things are going with my sister's custom traveler's notebook insert that I've been working on for the last few weeks. And then I'm going to jump on over to doing some meal planning for the next 2 weeks. And I'm also going to be planning for my annual holiday baking. So we've got a lot to cover today. I will do my best to stay on track and not ramble too much. And as always, I will add timestamps for you to skip around the video to whatever part you're more interested in catching up on. It might be a bit of a longer one, so I invite you to grab a tea or a coffee or your favorite beverage of choice. Today, I've got a coffee with a little bit of milk. I've got a couple of ginger cookies. Let's get cozy and talk about planners. Okay, so the first update that I'm going to go through is my sister's traveler's notebook. It's been going pretty well. I thought it might be interesting to show you how I've been approaching it, and then I don't think this is going to fit in the camera, but I essentially have a plastic bin that I have been keeping all of the supplies that I've been using for my sister's traveler's notebook. And so when I'm working on it, I will use whatever's in this bin, and I try not to get too distracted and use anything else. So I like that everything is all contained in this bin, and I haven't spent any additional money on supplies apart from the 2024 weekly inserts that I showed you in the last video. So this has been a really fun exercise of working through the stash of stationery that I have amassed over the last few years. Okay, so the first thing are these alphabet stamps. I got these off Amazon, and it's lowercase, uppercase, numbers, and a few special characters. I really like these stamps. I don't have a lot of stamps in general, but these are some of the ones that I reach for the most, and so I've kept them in this plastic container. This is the glue stick that I'm using, just a regular washable school glue stick. Nothing special, but it works. I also have a couple of paper books. I've had these paper books for years. I think I got this paper book in 2019, I want to say, and same with this book. And it is just a book full of different pieces of paper. So I've been working through this book for years, and it just has a lot of really fun things like alphabet stickers, different types of stickers, and it used to actually have a lot more paper, but I have been working through it, so it's in pretty good shape considering how long I've had it for. And then I also have this really fun kids version of it. It just has some really cheerful, bright colors that I really like. And there's a few coloring pages, and yeah, these are really fun books. This company that makes these books, they used to produce new paper lover books every year, and there was a time when I almost bought a new paper book for every year that they release them, but it's actually taken me so long to get through this book that I'm glad that I only have the one. So they do take a really long time to get through, at least for me. I also have some markers. I've had them for so long, and I'm actually surprised that none of them have run out. So either they just last a really long time, or I don't use them enough. I also have this tearaway calendar. This is from 2019. It was a Year of Tiny Pleasures 2019 calendar, and I have been slowly using the tearaway sheets and cutting them out for different scrapbooking type projects. I actually really loved this one-page calendar in 2019. I kept it at my desk at work, and one of my colleagues would put little post-it drawings throughout the calendar. And so I would flip through it and rip the pages, and then every so often I would come across a surprise post-it from her, and it was just such a nice tiny little thing to look forward to. So I was really glad to use it for the year of 2019, and I'm really glad that I've been able to stretch the use of this and continue cutting out these cute little illustrations. I pull this out every year, and as you can see, I still have so much to work through. Some old stickers from my shop, and yeah, just some papers and some stickers. So that's been working out pretty well. Instead of making a big mess in our dining area, I just put everything in the box when I'm not using it, and then when I am, I take everything out as needed and generally make a giant mess. But at least I have a way to tidy things up, which is great. The other thing is I've also been using this platinum carbon black ink with my Pilot Metropolitan, a fine nib, and I adore this ink. I had a sample of it, and I've actually purchased a bottle of it because I know I'm always going to have a need for a permanent ink, and I've been testing that out in my sister's journal, and I'm really pleased with how it's been working out. And the final thing is I have this Traveler's Town folder, and I've just been storing different pieces of paper that I intend on using but haven't had a chance to yet. Okay, so we've gone through the supplies somewhat chaotically. Now I'm going to take you through my sister's journal. So I'll do a really quick flip through of what I've done so far, and keep in mind that I might still add things to the pages, but this is where I'm at for now. This is what the year at a glance page looks like. I wrote this all out using this Pilot Metropolitan with the platinum carbon black, and I actually wrote it out first, and then I used a Tombow marker to highlight. I didn't experience any smudging with this ink, and so I'm very, very pleased with it. So this is January. So I used my mild liner markers for the days, and again, I wrote all of this out, including the numbers, with my platinum carbon black ink, and then I colored over it. And this was the first the first month always looks a little bit funny, so I was just getting used to using the letter stamps again, and so it gets better, but January was definitely a work in progress. So this is February, and I tried to change up the color of the days just to give it a little bit of interest. And I also wanted to leave this space blank so that if she wanted to add notes, she has the space to do so. I wanted to have a little bit of fun with March because she is a teacher and has 2 young kids. And in Canada, schools tend to take a week off for March break. And so in this one, I put a little envelope in here, and I added a piece of paper on this page to stiffen up the page a little bit so that writing on this side wouldn't be too unpleasant. And I put a little activity. So this was a page that I tore out of the kids' paper book, but it's a little hide and seek activity where you can circle these different items, and there's also one on the back. And my nephew actually loves these types of hide and seek type of games, so I thought this would be a fun little thing that either my sister could do if she wanted to, or one of her kids could do. And when she's done with it, she doesn't have to put it back in here if bulk becomes a problem. So I'm going to leave it in here for now. So it's March, April. So a lot of these are cutouts from that tearaway calendar. And I really like how colorful and simple the spread is. This one was actually pretty fun. So in that kids paper book, there were a few coloring pages. I ended up coloring one of the pages with my Tombow markers and cut everything out so it was this cat portrait and then these little yarn balls. And I just cut them all out and pasted them on the cover page. And I love how this one turned out. So that is all that I have so far for this book. Gotta do September, October, and November, December. And even though I've collaged on quite a few pages, it is getting thicker, but I don't feel like it's unmanageable. So it's still a lot thinner than the book that I gave her last year. Despite having this envelope here, I kind of tested it out and it's not terrible to write on. So I think it'll be okay. But of course, if she really doesn't like it, she can rip out this envelope. And I was going to stick a lot more fun little surprises like this for her to explore throughout the year. But in the interest of making sure that it's still a usable notebook that she can write on without being too annoyed, I'm rethinking how much I'm going to put in like this, which is kind of a shame because I thought it'd be fun to add like a little extra something to each of the cover pages, but I want this to be usable. So that is the update on my sister's custom TN. I'm going to continue working on this and I will share another update in a few weeks. All right, so next up we have meal planning. Although I know the 2024 Hobonichis are ready to be moved into in December, I wanted to finish meal planning in my 2023 meal planning Hobonichi. When the time comes to move into my new meal planning book for 2024, I'm going to be using the Another Night of Falling Star Sparklers. I'm so excited. I recognize that having 3 Hobonichi weeks is maybe a bit excessive, but I really enjoy compartmentalizing different areas of my life. And so for now, I'm going to keep them separate just so that I can really focus on each of those areas when I need to. And then in the future, maybe I'll consider consolidating some of these things when they become so habitual that it feels easier to maintain if that day ever comes. But for now, I'm just really excited to be moving in. I wasn't planning on doing a setup video because I'm not really going to be changing that much from how I've been approaching it in 2023. But if you are interested in seeing a video of me moving into this Hobonichi Weeks, I can certainly walk you through what I did in 2023 and what changes I'll be making in 2024. If that's interesting, let me know if that is something that you would like to watch. Okay. As a reminder, my meal planning is pretty boring. Let's head on into the upcoming week. So one of the reasons why I like doing my meal planning on the notes pages is because sometimes I make a plan and then there have been a couple of times where we've had to pivot some of the plans that we made. And so I like having the space to have a plan, but then also have like the reality. Okay, and then I'm going to look ahead and see what dates I need to keep in mind. Okay, we are heading into the final weeks of December, which is crazy. Also, I think I forgot to mention this at the beginning, but it is yet another cloudy day, and so I do have a lot of lights on and a lot of shadows, so I apologize in advance for the not so great lighting. But anyway, back to planning for the next 2 weeks. We are heading into the end of the month, so I do know that we are likely going to be having a lot of evening plans with family in the next couple of weeks. We've got chicken, beef, and shrimp. So what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to cook on Monday because I know that I have that night free. And then we're going to try to do leftovers on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So maybe Tuesday will be like Sunday's leftovers. Wednesday will be Monday's leftovers. And then we'll aim to cook again on Thursday. And then we'll have leftovers Friday. I think we'll probably be having dinner with family on Sunday. So Saturday we may have to cook, or we'll do something in the freezer. And I'll say leftovers, cook, leftovers. I'm not sure, and I'll say out because I think we'll be out. I'm gonna put Sundays, and we're probably gonna do a roast or pizza, so we'll just make sure we have enough for Tuesday's meal. Monday, it's got my little cheat cards. I've pulled out some meal inspiration. And so I said that I had shrimp in the freezer. And I also have frozen tortillas in the freezer as well. And what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to make shrimp tacos as one of the meals because shrimp cooks up super fast. So when I'm short on time, I really like that even if I forget to take something out of the freezer, I can defrost it very quickly. I think I'm gonna do shrimp tacos on Monday. So I'm gonna cook shrimp using this brown butter method because I love how this tastes. But instead of using all these other ingredients and making this like full meal, I'm actually just gonna cook the shrimp using this method, and then I'm gonna have it with tacos. So I already have tortillas, I don't need to buy that. But I think it'll be nice to have some avocado, feta cheese, lime, and tomatoes. So that's going to be one of the meals. Wednesdays will be leftover shrimp. And then the other one that I pulled out is beef banh mi style bowls. And this is a really nice and easy one too. I'm going to do that on Thursday. And then we'll have those leftovers on Friday. So we may end up having it 2 nights in a row, but that's okay. And then I'm gonna say freezer leftovers. So I know that we have some chicken soup in the freezer. I'm gonna plan to pull that out for the weekend. So we'll either have the soup on Friday with toast or something, or we'll have the beef meal on Thursday, Friday we'll have the leftovers, and then Saturday we'll have the chicken soup, and then Sunday we'll go out. So that is going to be the plan for next week. I'm going to need cucumber, carrots. I already have rice. We have sesame seeds. I'm probably going to get bok choy because I like that with this type of meal. Cilantro. Okay, so that's next week. So we're gonna have shrimp and we're gonna have beef. I think we should do something with chicken. And I would love to do something with turkey, although we are gonna be having turkey for our holiday meal. So since we're going out on Sunday, there is a chance we won't have leftovers. Sometimes we do and sometimes we don't. So I'd rather assume that we're not gonna have leftovers. So I think on Monday, I'm going to do some kind of chicken meal. I'm going to try to do this meal. Also uses feta cheese, and I'm already going to be buying feta cheese for the previous week. I already have bulgur. Okay, we'll say onions, feta cheese, parsley, garlic. So that'll be Monday. And then I think I'll probably try to cook on Tuesday. I'm going to do a stir fry. So what I normally do with that is I will need noodles, eggs, carrots, peppers, mushrooms. So then we'll do leftovers, chicken on Wednesday, leftovers, noodles on Thursday, and then we'll need to cook on Friday, so I think we'll do a vegetarian meal. So I'm gonna do a soba noodle and tofu meal. So we already have soba noodles. We'll need tofu, mushrooms, peppers, and say broccoli or bok choy. And then so we'll plan to go out again on Sunday. So that's gonna be the meals. So we'll do chicken on Monday, noodle stir fry on Tuesday with egg, leftovers, and then Friday will be soba noodles and tofu and leftovers, and then Sunday out. So that's the meals done for the next 2 weeks, which is great. And we've got our shopping list. I have one last thing to go through, and that is holiday baking. So I'm actually going to do some of that planning in the back. What I have here is a spreadsheet that I've created based on the things that I have already decided I want to bake this holiday season. And then I've added links into the different recipes. So this year I'm going to aim to make 4 different things. And I've really tried to pare back because there were years when I would try to make 10 different cookies and bars, and I overwhelmed myself. And so I've really tried to pare it down to the classics that I know people really love at this time of the year, and then added one thing in for me because I absolutely adore lemon flavored desserts. So this year I'm aiming to make gingerbread cookies. I've been using this Martha Stewart recipe for years and it is fantastic. So I'm going to make that again. I'm going to make these lemon bars from Sally's Baking Addiction, Allison Roman's salted butter and chocolate chunk shortbread, and Christmas cracker candy, which is basically toffee, saltine crackers, and chocolate. So this one is really easy to make and it makes a lot, which is great for gifting, and I love it. So what I've done is I've opened up each of these recipes and I've copied down what I need for each of them. I've got all the ingredients here, and then I've got the unit of measurement. So for example, with flour, I have it in grams, and baking soda I have in teaspoons. And then here I just input the quantity for one recipe. And so for example, under gingerbread cookies, calls for 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour. And so because I bake by weight, I converted 2.5 cups into grams. I see that that is 120 grams approximately. And then I just proceed and I put everything else in here depending on the unit of measurement. And I did the same for lemon bars and salted butter. So when it comes to like butter, for example, I always run out of butter. And so my previous approach would be to just buy like tons and tons and tons of butter. And then we'd always end up with blocks of butter that were left over, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I'd rather have more butter than not enough, but at least for me, I really like to know how much I need. So I've got all my quantities here, and then what I have here is a number of batches. So for most of these, I'm just going to do one batch. But for gingerbread cookies, for example, they are my husband's favorite cookies. He asks for them every year. And so if I don't make extras of these gingerbread cookies, I know he's going to be very sad. So I always do 2 batches. And so up here, if I want to do more than one, I can just input the number of batches and then it'll automatically multiply all of the ingredients over on onto this table, and then this cell is essentially just a sum of everything for that row. So for example, this Christmas cracker candy doesn't call for any flour, so this is just going to be a sum of how much flour I need from these three recipes. What it ends up telling me is this is the list that I will need when I'm grocery shopping. And then because 832 grams of all-purpose flour is kind of confusing, I also added in this additional column where necessary just to convert things into cups in case that's helpful. So for example, I know that if I need approximately 832 grams of flour, maybe I'll be able to see on the flour pack how much that is. Also, I can see that it's roughly 7 cups of flour. I just find that it's helpful sometimes to have both options. Same with butter. So in Canada, our butter is sold in 454 gram or 16 ounce block. And so what I have here is I know I need 36.9 ounces of butter, which is roughly 2 blocks of butter, which is great because if I were baking right now without this spreadsheet, I probably would have bought like 4 blocks of butter just to be safe. But in this case, I know at a minimum I need 2, and I might buy 3 just in case I make a mistake. But I find it's good to have a sense of what I need. Same thing here. So I know I need 490 grams of brown sugar, or roughly 4 cups. In case you find this helpful, I'm going to leave a link to this spreadsheet in my description if I can. I've never tried to do that, but I'll see if I can do that. And you're welcome to make a copy of this and use it for yourself if you find it helpful. And if you aren't able to access it after this video, but you would like to, feel free to email me and I'd be happy to share this with you. It's pretty simple, but you're welcome to use this if you would like. So where does that leave me now? For this particular baking list, I'm actually going to use one of the notes pages. So I'm just going to call this holiday baking. So I need 800 flour, 4.5 tablespoons ground ginger, allspice, and some of these spices I have, but I'm gonna write them all down here, and before I go grocery shopping, I'm gonna double check that I have these quantities just to be on the safe side. Okay, so I've got my list, my holiday baking list. So as I mentioned earlier, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through my pantry and I'm going to double check whether I have all of these things already. Like I know I have ground ginger, for example, but I'm going to double check that I have enough ground ginger for baking purposes. Same thing with molasses. I have some molasses already, but I'm not sure if I have enough. So I'll double check that. And you can see like I need at least 9 eggs for baking, but I also need eggs for our meal next week. So yeah, I'll just double check, and what I'll do is I'll end up consolidating the shopping list and just making sure that we have everything we need. And we should be set for holiday baking. So we are all set for grocery shopping tomorrow. I know what I need for baking, and I know what I need to get for the next 2 weeks of meals. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions about my process, feel free to leave a comment down below. I would love to hear if you have any plans for baking at this time of the year and what some of your favorite recipes are. I personally really love to make like little Linzer cookies. I love shortbread. I love chocolate chip cookies. I've really had to pare back what I plan on baking, and that's mainly due to time constraints. But I love to bake, and I love to gift baking to my friends and family and my neighbors. If you're still here, thank you so much for being here. Whether you're new or have watched a few of my previous videos, I appreciate you so much. I hope you're doing well, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!